Hello everybody, Simon from Phase on Triathlon here. Today we're going to look at 5 skills which are really worth focusing on when you start riding on the road, but definitely before you start your first race. So the first skill that we're going to look at is doing a shoulder check. This is really important to make sure when you make any change of direction, whether you're pulling out or whether you are moving around an obstacle, to make sure that there is nothing in the road that we may need to maybe come to overtake us, which could be another bike, be a car, anything like that. Now, you may only do your training off-road, away from traffic. However, when you do take part in your race, even if it's closed roads with no cars, you have lots of other cyclists moving around you. So it's even more important in these circumstances, because cyclists don't make a lot of noise, to check over your shoulder before you make any change in direction. Otherwise, you'll probably end up cutting someone off and could cause a crash. Next up is riding one-handed. Now, this isn't simply to try and impress girls or boys when riding our bike. This is to make sure that we can reach our water bottles while we're riding. It's really important that we drink no matter what distance of racing we're doing. We're going to need to take on some fluids, and if you're too scared to be able to take your hands off the handlebars, you're not going to be able to do this efficiently. To build this skill up, what we do to start with is start by simply practicing lifting your hand from your handlebars as you ride along. This will get you used to just supporting your body weight with one hand. I advise, if you're right-handed, lifting your right hand, vice versa for those of you who are left-handed. Once you've mastered this and you feel that you can hold your hand off the bike consistently without worrying that you're going to crash, then have a go at touching your water bottle a few times. That will involve reaching down. It's really important you keep your eyes up the road. Don't sit there and stare down at your water bottle. A quick glance when you're first practicing this won't hurt, as long as you know there's nothing else on the road around you. But you really need to want to work to the point where we can do this without looking at our water bottle. Finally, once we feel confident with that, have a go at reaching down, picking up your water bottle, taking a drink, and then putting it back. So there are dozens of reasons where we might need to come to an emergency stop while we're riding our bike. As we all know, if we apply too much front brake, we can end up going over the handlebars. So make sure you apply both brakes evenly. And as you come to a stop, it's worth placing your body weight over the rear of the bike to prevent the chance of you flying over the handlebars. If you are wearing clip-in cycling shoes, it's worth you start to unclip as you're starting to brake, so you don't run the risk of wobbling off your bike and falling over once you have come to a stop. So, using your gears, this is something that I see an awful lot. People, especially who are very inexperienced cyclists, may be riding around town in a gear that's far too big for them, or some people riding around with their legs going 10 to the dozen. This may be the first time, if you've just got a road bike, you've ever ridden a bike with gears if you didn't have one as a child. So it's worth making sure that you use your gears to make sure that you're riding at what we call a normal cadence, which is how far your legs are turning over. If your legs are going around too fast, you're never going to create enough torque. You're not really going to put enough pressure around on the pedals for you to go fast enough. If you're in too high a gear, it's going to put loads of strain through your legs, and your legs are going to get tired quite quickly, and they'll be quite tired for the run. You won't get as out of breath, but it will take the toll out on your muscles instead. So the way we select our gears on our bike, depending on which country you're from, one side will control your big ring at the front, which is called your chain ring. You have a big ring and a small ring. And your other shifter will control your cassette, which is all of the gears on the sprocket at the back of the bike there. So when you're choosing which gear to be in, you need to be mindful of the terrain you're on as well. If you're approaching a hill, it's worth getting yourself into your small ring at the front and your biggest ring at the back, which will allow you to go up the hill smoothly. Equally, if you're on a downhill, you may want to shift into your big ring at the front and towards one of the smaller rings at the back to allow you more torque and to be able to maintain that momentum as you're going on a slight downhill. So this is an extra little technical tip for people. You want to avoid mixing your small ring on your front with your small ring on your cassette. This is what we call cross-chaining, where the chain runs at quite a severe angle between the two. It will normally result in some rubbing sounds as you're riding, puts extra wear on your chain, and is not as efficient. By the time you find yourself in your smallest at the front and the smallest at the back, or the biggest on the front or the biggest at the back, chances are you should be changing which ring you're in at the front at that point. So when you're approaching a corner on a road bike, it may be your instinct to stick really close to the inside of the corner as you go around and only brake at the last minute. It's not really the most efficient way to go around a corner. What's more efficient is we start our braking earlier, we aim to finish our braking once we reach the corner, and we take quite a wide line around the corner. Of course, make sure you do a check over your shoulder before you pull out into your lane, just to check there isn't another cyclist or another car there alongside you or behind you. And that allows you to maintain a bit more speed around those corners. One word of caution though, the amount of speed that you can carry around a corner is dictated somewhat by the quality of the tyres that you're using. If you're still using the tyres that came on your bike, they're going to have an awful lot less grip than if you have some more expensive tyres like mine. The tyres that I'm running on my road bike are Continental 4 Seasons. These sacrifice a little bit of grip and rolling resistance, which is how well they roll, in aid of additional puncture protection and performance in poor conditions, which is what I'm looking for from my road bike. On my race bike, I would have some tyres that had a bit more grip on them, so do consider this when you're out cycling. Don't simply follow cyclists who are faster than you around the corners on them. Not only will they be more experienced, your tyres may not have the same amount of grip as they do. The bike industry is very good at selling us things that we don't really need, but investing in a good pair of tyres is always money really well spent. So there we have it. These are 5 skills that I believe are really important for us to be able to master before we go out training on the roads or racing. So I really hope they help you with your training, and good luck with your race.